I'm gonna, yeah. So it's been quite a week, I believe, for all of us. Like all these weeks are seeming surreal. If maybe it's just me, but I don't think so. Where there's definitely accelerated learning opportunities there for us. If not even if we choose to, sometimes we're just like forced to be there and to choose it, and it's like the next step in our development. It's like there's no such thing as like a no anymore. You know what I mean? It's like we could have gotten away with no's, or we did for so long. And no, we're doing it in class. And now is really the time to embrace a lot, embrace tremendous amounts that I think we've never embraced before, really, in humanity, as the Jewish people, and as individuals in our own reincarnations and our own, and being here now during this time means that it's like, wow, you made it to the last stretch, like the last inning almost, that kind of a thing. Um, so yeah, so a lot of things have definitely come up for me in this trip, and I'm gonna share them, a bunch of them. But first of all, it is Rosh Chodesh Sivan right now. That means over here, at least in Israel, it's Rosh Chodesh Sivan. It's the new month of Sivan. That means that right now we have the energy of the new month of Sivan. And it is a very, very, very auspicious month. It's a very, very powerful month, as we know. It's the month, it's called the third month, the month of the giving of the Torah. It's the month of combinations of opposites. There's the Gemini, there's the two sides, right? There's the side of, you know, more of the earthly side, and then there is the spiritual side, right? And those two sides come together and coincide as one during this month. This month of Sivan is a tremendous month that all of us are really ready for, in many ways. And if we're not ready, well, guess what? There's like the train isn't waiting for for us, because it's just the redemption train, sounds like a song, like a reggae song, but the redemption train is on the way, and it's true. But yeah, so this past week has actually been a tremendous blessing for me. Like really a tremendous, tremendous blessing, where things were not that planned, heavily planned in advance, and they just turned out to be exactly what was needed and exactly how it was meant to happen, right? And it was very family intensive. That means it's like really visiting and seeing and reconnecting and retelling people what you really want to tell them, right? Because we waste so much of life not saying what we really want to say and should be saying, right? Right. And it's like, oh, next time, next time, next time. But how do you know? Who knows exactly? And after October 7th, there was this very big urgency, and accelerated learning, and spiritual, like just going to the next level of like that I was feeling, of just now everything is short. Life is short. The now is the only thing that we have. Like the now is truly the only thing that we have. The now is the greatest present. The now is the greatest thing that we can share. that we can sit together with. It's that simple and it's that powerful. So, being here in Tzfat could sometimes feel like it's a theoretical game, where it's like you sometimes wonder, like, okay, at the end of the day, like here we are, or here I am, right? In this like very highly spiritual uh vibration, right? That is really the part of this mountain. And just being a part of that is, it takes a lot to just stay on that bandwagon of just basically this is the constant, ongoing mission. And then when you get, we could say tested, because everything is really a test, but it doesn't have to be looked at as like a test, a negative. But when you're tested to actually put that into practice to see, is it really where you're truly at, or is it not? Then that's where you know that you have really gotten it, right? Where you can face the places that you were in your prior, we could say, mistakes or life, and part of evolution, right, of each person, and then go back to that place, go back to that situation, go back to that person, and then gauge yourself, whereas not expecting anything from the other. And that's huge. That really is the 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 place to be in, where we can say, you know what, I've moved the marker. Like, I've actually moved the marker. It's not just in my thoughts and my theories, but it's actually there. And it's a very satisfying place to be in, that unless someone is doing inner work, like true inner work, then they wouldn't be able to get it. And majority of people in the world just don't even understand, like, this concept, wouldn't even understand, like, what we're even talking about. This would be completely foreign to them, and they would switch to the next channel like 10 minutes ago, right? But for us, right, that are doing the inner work, and we are constantly evolving, like it's every day, and it's it's moment to moment, where our souls are basically just evolving, right? And it's happening way faster now during this time, during this period, than ever before. Where if we don't know what's up, like, basically, if we don't know, like, that there is this dynamic going on, then it could be very, very confusing, to say the least, and disheartening, right? Unless we are familiar with what is our work. What does God want from me, right? What is this, right, work that I'm involved in, right? And for each person, it is individual, yet it is collective. And for each person, right, we tap into our personal, but then we have to hold that space of being true to that work, right? And not for it to be haphazard. Like, yes, today, yes, tomorrow, no. I don't like Mondays, so I'm allowed to lay in bed, which you are. I mean, you're allowed to, like, feel anything that you are feeling, right? But the notion of it's not going on all the time is a false notion, because life is happening, and spirituality and God is happening all the time, like all the time. It's not just when we are in elated spiritual places, but it's happening when we are in the supermarket, when we're parking, when we are at home, we're washing dishes, when we're having conversation with someone. Every single situation is an opportunity to come back and to be in that space of, this is the now. This is where God exactly wants me. Right? Being in that awareness of, it's the now. This is the place, the only place that really exists. And being on the road for a week, literally, where I really didn't stop much. It was really super packed. And it's kind of like a wonder that I'm here right now. And but I feel great, to tell you the truth, because I was up for 30 hours. I napped for like 2 hours. And it's been like, it's been a lot. It's being in 3 states, and driving and flying, and then transits, and then airports, and then waiting, and then it's a lot. And I remember going back to being in that, kind of situation, without the awareness that I have now, and feeling how disheartening this is, and how, like, I can't wait to get to the destination. Whereas now I could honestly say that each moment and each part of this trip was absolutely enjoyable, was absolutely miraculous, was fantastic, really, each moment. And so you see the question, you see the question that was asked is, so nothing went wrong. And that's the question that is the problematic question, because nothing went wrong means that there's another power outside of the creator of the universe, that nothing else went wrong is a question which we're basically like, it can't, like, something random must have happened, and it must have been. But when we know, okay, it's not just belief, but when we know that the creator is in all, and everything is the creator, that means every single situation, and every single interaction, and every single encounter that we have is an absolutely godly ordained match. What? To live like that is what is a major, but to live like that, to live like, listen, I'm not, believe me, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm saying it's a result of years of work. Right.
If they miss the train, it's upset.
Right.
It's simple.
Yes. Right. Because we realize that everything that is happening, and wherever it is that we are, and it's exactly perfectly tailored to the T. No, but that's actually a simple, Baal Shem Tov truth, that everything that happens, so we say it and we believe it, and we're like, oh, that's a beautiful, inspiring idea. Yes. But like, that's what I'm going back to and saying, like, we could be learning the concepts and saying, like, yes, there's beautiful concepts. But then when the metal hits the pedal, right? When you're actually like there, then you get to really, then it really gets fun in the sense of, like, if you're open to it, because then you could catch yourself and say, like, oh, I'm reacting this way, and the automatic trigger is that, and that is happening. And to observe that, and to be able to say, this is not me, this is my reaction, and that's not my true me, that I'm centered, in the now, in bitachon and Hashem, that is the truest thing that there is. Because there is, but great,
And
once
you
again,
train, stuck in this airport for another 48 hours, and you say, this is what Hashem wants. He wants me to be here. He wants me to
and
talk to A, B, and C, and to
and
not have it
exactly, but exactly, but we don't understand that, but that's when we're able to get out of ourselves, out of the self that is basically saying, I need to be somewhere, and I think that this should not have happened, versus this is exactly an opportunity for me to express my soul in this moment and time and place. This is where my soul needs to be expressed, right? So we don't choose where our soul gets to be expressed. We could choose to allow that, whether we, are like it or comfortable with it fully, and we're not fully comfortable like at first, but then when we kind of like get out of the way and realize like this is the pedaling, like this is the name of the game, like to be in the opportunity of of I'm here for not just myself, right? So yeah, so this past week was really that for me, and I'm extremely grateful to Hashem that I had this opportunity. I really am grateful, because then that proves to me where I am, and it's not coming from a place of ego, but it's coming from a place of thank you.
Satisfaction.
Exactly, of like exactly that God wants us to know that, and to know our own strengths. So, and to go back to people, and to go back to places, and to go back to encounters where you would have reacted way differently, right? And then present in that space, yeah, to be in that space and to choose to say and to do something different. That is liberating. There's no greater thing in the world for that than that. Yeah, Gamzula Tova, exactly. Yeah. Dina. That everything is really for, right? For the good, whether we understand it, we don't understand it. And the thing is, like, let's not even try to understand it, because when we try to understand it, then we're already limiting our ability to really be in that place, because our mind is holding on to like, I'm trying to get this. And the truth is that the mind can't contain it. It's something which is way greater and way bigger than the mind, right? The self. So here we are in this month, new month, Sivan. And the month of Sivan is this month that we get to meet both parts of ourselves, right? It's the Gemini, it's the both parts of ourselves. It's the godly soul and it's the animal soul. The two of them, it's the twins. So whereas in the month of Nisan, we have the godly soul. That's the sheep or the goat, right? That's the godly soul perspective. And then we have the month of Iyar, the month of Taurus, which is the ox. And that's the animal soul, right? And we're born with these two souls, right? The Arizal says, right? The Tanya says, and it's pretty obvious if we just kind of like think about who we are and what we are. Like, we have a body and we've got a soul, right? But to understand what the soul is absolutely selfless. It's egoless. It just wants to be united and reunited with the creator, and to be one with everything and everyone in creation. that is the aspiration of the godly soul. The animal soul's role is to self press survive and to be able to essentially to be able to make it, right? To be able to make it and to not feel pain or less pain, not feel disappointed, hurt, which is all part of pain, obviously, and to be able to self-indulge essentially in its own self, right? So needless to say, these two are opposites as they come. This is the odd couple of odd couples, right? And they're both found inside of us. We've got this altruistic, godly, completely selfless, unity centered, love, right? Love centered, compassionate, part of who we are. That's our godly soul, right? And then we've got our animal soul. What's our animal soul all about? It is all about the self, and it is all about the self-preservation and indulgement, enjoyment. And it's very distinct and likes to be separate so it can hold on to whatever meager pleasures or feelings of preservation it can grab. So throughout this period of time that we're in right now, we do the Sfirat Omer. We have the 49 days of the counting of the Omer, where we count. What's the idea of the counting? The idea of the counting is infusing the godly soul awareness within the animal soul. Every single day, we say Hayom Yom. Today, Hayom means light. Hayom means, right? Light. Hayom Yom. Today's the day. And this is the day of where I'm feeling that I feel in this way. I feel this type of smallness or this type of pressure or this type of small-minded feeling, and I bring light to that. I bring air. I bring this breeziness, right, to that space, because it's not really transforming it yet. It's just bringing awareness to that space. It's just opening up like a window, essentially, right? Where you have like a stuffy room, and the stuffy room, you can't, we all know being in a stuffy room, how like horrible that kind of a feeling is, with the rugs and those, in the in the 80s or 70s, that everything was rugs and you didn't shampoo it and whatever. Anyway, so it's stuffy, but when you open up a window, you get a little bit of just this air. You're like, whew, thank God. Wow, I could actually breathe a little bit in here, right? That mold feel breath is not here as much. And it's like that inside of us, right? We've got this closed off parts of us that don't want to be opened. It's almost like this band-aid is on it and it's a scab, and then there's another patch over it and it's saying, don't open it, right? Don't look at it, don't see it. And that's running our whole operating system. Of what? Yeah. I mean, but this. So it's like that. We have this stuffiness inside of our heads, inside of our beings. What is the window opened? Window open means that there's all of a sudden perspective. There's all of a sudden awareness, even just witnessing. There's witnessing. There's witnessing the scab, right? There's witnessing the stuffiness, not judging it, but just witnessing it. And we do that for 49 days. That's the Sfirat HaOmer. Many people think it's like, okay, let's go, Sfirat HaOmer. Today we're going to fix for once and for all. Chesed shebe malchut, like, you're done. It's like some coach, like, getting you on, like, get over there, boy. Like, go. You're running, like, I can't anymore. You got this, man. It's like this coach that's just like swinging him around. Oh, I got it. No, it doesn't work that way in spirituality and in ruchnias, and it doesn't work that way. It's not like we get to the destination. The destination is after 120, like after we finish. It's time, our mission. But every single day, we get a little bit of an opening and a perspective of another part of ourselves. So every single day is that, where we have this dynamic of the godly soul and the animal soul coming together. The godly soul is the window, and the animal soul is the stuffy room that's saying, like, no, don't open up the window. At least I have air in here. Like, I want to survive. I don't know what's outside. If you open up the window, who knows what's going to happen? Someone's going to come in. Someone's going to come in the window, and that's it. You better close it off. Put also, close it all complete. This way I'm safe in here. And the only problem is that we close ourselves off in a stuffy room, and that's not healthy. So the opening up of the window means that we open up ourselves to a perspective that is outside of the comfort zone of the animal soul consciousness. And that means that the animal soul is like, what? The godly soul is like, chill out, man. We've got this. Chill out. Like, don't worry. I'm going to open it up. You're going to get a good breeze. In fact, you're going to enjoy it even more. Animal soul, you want to enjoy. I know you want to enjoy. Your thing's about enjoyment. Like, you can enjoy this way more than a stuffy, ruggy, yellow room, that is, you think that you're having, the time of you're having time of your life in. And that's the Sfirat HaOmer. That is the Sfirat HaOmer, where we unite these two parts, right? So the first month, the month of Nisan, represents the month of the godly soul, the Taleh, right? The goat, where the goat is the perspective of the godly soul, where it's like, oh, Creator takes us out. We're with him. We're connected to him. It's all good. And then we get thrown back into our own stuff. We're like, oh no, close that window. Don't you know what that? It's time for the 16th shot. I think it's just about that time right now. Have you not gotten this shot and the flu shot and the next thing? And what's going on over there, and who's being, and it's fear mongering mentality that the animal soul is like living on and gets its kicks from. And that's the month of Iyar, the second month, which is the month of Taurus, which just kind of I got to plow through. Let's get through the 9 to 5, boss. We're gonna get up, gotta make the bagels, make the donuts right there early on in the morning, get to, and yes, definitely there is the thing for the 9 to 5, right? But if the 9 to 5 is just about the 9 to 5, and it's just about walking home with a paycheck and being like just safe and to survive and to be able to just be okay enough, then we're selling ourselves very short as in the human race, basically. Not even talking about like Jewish, like we're just really talking about like we're selling ourselves very short if the 9 to 5 is the end all and be all, because if that is the case, then we can't really have a much greater collective society which really cares about each other, because for that we need the godly soul, right? And so the first month is the goat. So Cindy was asking what is it about the goat that specifically symbolizes godliness? So the goat represents this this very easygoing type of an animal where you pull the goat wherever you want, basically, and they're not really going to struggle that much. But if you try to tell an ox what to do, right, you better get out of the way, right? So that represents the godly soul. The godly soul innately is very easygoing. In other words, in its natural connection to the source, right? It's naturally connected. It doesn't need any major reminders or any major things, right? It's naturally connected. That's the goat. Whereas the ox is like you've got to work hard to move the ox. You have to work very hard to move the ox. And that's our animal soul consciousness self, where in order to get just even a little step in, to open up the window just a little bit, is like a really big deal, because it's a very big room, and a lot of clutter has been amassed over there over the years. And to open up just a window, okay, so that gives us a little bit of air and a little bit of light and a little bit of perspective, but you're like, oh, but there's so much. And to move it a little bit more could be like disheartening, right? Like, I've got to do all of this. I've got to take care of all this. And that's what Sfirat Omer is all about. Sfirat Omer doesn't say you got to fix it all now. Sfirat Omer says open up the window. And Sfirat Omer comes from the word sapphire, which means a precious stone. It's a sapphire. It's a precious stone. What's a precious stone? Precious stone is that there is light that comes. So you're lighting up the room with you're just lighting up a candle. It's like the Rebbe told Netanyahu when he became the UN ambassador. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe told Benjamin Netanyahu, says, you should know you're going into a den of lies, right? And it's a place of darkness. Yeah. And he said that in that den of darkness, that den of lies, your job is to light one candle of truth. Because there's a rule that there's an advantage of light from the darkness, which really helps us out a lot in thinking like, oh my God, I've got all this, and we see it and we come, it'll take me how long to do this? It's not about us, what we think, how we could do it, and if we could do it, and we just have to open up the window. And that's the Sfirat Omer. Just take the next step. Don't think about 20 steps. Take the next step, because the next step is the present. The next step is all that you've got, right? Whereas it's not like, okay, there's the next step, but then 20 steps from now, there's that. You're like, it's like playing ping pong and tennis with situations that do not exist. They're not even there in the world, and they're occupying so much parking space in our personal rooms. and and that's heavy. That's heavy baggage that we choose to allow in there. Whereas if we're if we're just open to this moment, then that is the only thing that really exists. And all of the past and all of the future, anything in the future, do not exist. There's only the now. There's only this moment. There's only this. And if that's the case, so now we have a fusion of opposites. And that's the month of Sivan, where the opposites are able to come together. And it's really hard to come to this fusion of opposites because the ego and the animal soul wants to think and deliberate and to analyze and to go back and forth and to have like all types of perspectives and to be so complicated on it. And what about this and what about that? And it can't allow itself to actually be fully like present in the moment, which doesn't have to be, externally like wow, the most incredible like godly soul, animal soul type of experience, right? And it's not even the most godly soul type of an experience. It's a very mundane experience, right? Where you're standing online or something, or you're sitting down, or or it's very like mundane. But in that moment is really a divine experience where the two come together. The two come together. The animal soul, which could get out of its way and say, like, I allow for now, and the godly soul, which says, it is the now, come together. That's the month of Sivan. That's the month of receiving of the Torah. Because what is the receiving of the Torah? The receiving of the Torah is receiving that it happened right now, that is happening right now. That life is happening right now, right? It's happening in this present moment. It's happening every single moment. And we have the opportunity to be able to allow that, right? To allow that, and to be this, we could say this receptacle, and to be a part of this whole intricate tapestry of Hashem's universe that is happening, and we're a part of this whole interconnection, which is happening within me. But it's happening within me, within my heart, and within my body. It's not just happening within my head, within my mind. Because if it's happening within my mind, it's not really happening within my heart and within my body. And it's like, you know, emptying ourselves, emptying ourselves from being full of needing to be into, it's like that cluttered room, that stuffy room that's like full because it's the only thing that it knows. It's the only identity that it knows. And if it's not that, then what would it be? Right? I visited a family member that was just went through very intense surgery, and there's obviously a lot more, and it's mostly psychological, where in their home, their entire house is so messy. I mean, it really is just, I mean, so cluttered. And I literally did this. I visited this person, and I'm like, we have to open up, we have to open up the door over here. We have to get fresh air. That is literally what I felt this like, to heal, you have to open up a window, right? It's like, because if everything is closed off and everything is the same that it was yesterday, and it's all this, so then where is that going to come from? From where will it come from, right? Mizri mi Hashem, right? Shir ma'alot. It's like I'm asking, me'ain. What's me'ain? From where? From nothingness. Get out of the somethingness and into the nothingness. Izri mi Hashem. So the window needs to be open, and it's unbelievable that that all of us really have this kind of thing, and when I visited this person, I kind of asked myself, where am I like that? Because everything is hashgacha prati. Everything that we see, as much as we don't like to really even think about it that way, but it's really a mirror of us. So it could be very sobering and very, like, frank. And so we could either like want to hear it and we want to grow from it. And like King Solomon says, that who is a wise person, one that loves tochecha, one that loves rebuke, right? And basically,
A loving one.
what?
Only a loving one.
Oh,
Only from love.
oh.
Otherwise, I don't want to haha.
Okay, so you don't really want to grow because because most
When you love
no.
someone,
No, right. No. It's that's going about from a person who's giving rebuke to another one, 100%. But like the biggest rebuke is stuff that you see in your children, is the stuff that you see in your spouse, the stuff that you see in your family member, stuff that you see there, and you're like, that nobody's rebuking me. That person that I'm seeing is really me.
Little me.
Or big me.
No, it's the little.
The little, but it could be that is the big me. And the only, right? And it's a tough pill to swallow. It's not, but then if you really want to grow, are you going to even embrace that, right? Say, thank you for showing me that. And it's not like God is like, oh, but it's just another opportunity to open up another window within the place that I didn't even know was so like closed off. That was another room of the, rooms inside that just now gets to be seen. That's it. Just it gets to be seen. We don't have to solve anything. We don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. Don't, right? Because the animal soul wants to solve it. Be like, oh, that's going on. Let me take care of that right now. Let me get on that. I'm on the case. I'm on it. Let's go. Bring in the team. And it's not really doing it. It's not really doing the job because it's not the animal soul's job to do that. It's the godly soul's job to do that. The animal soul's job is to say, okay, I allow for the window to be open. I agree that I want the window open. Maybe I'm not sure. But like, yes, brave enough to do that. And then the godly soul shines in through that window. And this month that we're in right now, Sivan, is this month of an opportunity to be present within this dynamic which is going on within us all the time, because it's the only month really that has these two polarities to it. We have Libra, which is right Tishrei, but it's different because that's more Chesed and Gvura. Over here we have basically heaven and earth. We've got like on Mount Sinai, God brought down the Torah from the heaven, and then Moshe like and came down from the earth. So it's this combination of the physical and the spiritual. It's called the third month because it comes after the second month, which is the month of Iyar, the month of Taurus, and after the first month, which is the month of Nisan, which is miracles. And now the third month is this fusion It's this hybrid, basically, of these two. It's the hybrid which makes the human, which is the uniqueness of our human self, right? Where the Talmud says that the angels asked God, sorry, what's this guy doing over here? This guy's coming up on, to our territory, trespassing. Lucky we don't have this, on us. But like, you're trespassing our area to bring down the Torah. Like, what's up? What's going on? And God says to Moshe, answer them. And so Moshe says, like, I'm scared. They're angels, and they were made out of fire, and they're tremendous, right? Right. And so God says to Moshe, hold on to my throne. Moshe holds on to God's throne. Of course, this is, in the Talmud, this is obviously an analogy for so much. But Moshe says to the angels, okay, do you guys have a father and mother? No, didn't think so. Like a good interrogator. Do you guys have a desire to steal? And when was the last time anyone here like took their friends like, fire pocket watch or whatever it is, the angelic like, brand, when was the last time you took this? Never. We don't have a desire to do anything negative, right? And so basically Moshe went through the 10 commandments and he basically said, okay, so then what do you need the Torah for? You don't really need the Torah at the end, right? Because the Torah is meant to be down here for us in this world, in a world where we have these trials and tribulations, where we have these these desires and negative traits, in order to correct us. So the Torah was not given to the angels, right? And it wasn't given to, right, there to the rest of the nations. It was brought down, right? Bnei Yisrael, where it says about Moshe. Moshe is called Ish Elokim. He's called a man, but also Elokim, man of God. And this combination of godly and physical paradox coming together is where God resides, where the essence resides, right? God could have been just, okay, angels, this is a great place to be in. This is like, luxury, spiritual luxury type of a place, right? The world of Yetzirah, the world of Beria, the world of Atzilut, all these angelic, beings that are there. And then Hashem is like, no, I want to be down in this world, like all the way down. You see that guy, like all the way down there, that has this, that is sitting there waiting for, for the bus, waiting for this, sitting there, and he's all these thoughts are coming through his head, and why did that? Whereas that person can embrace that this is a godly moment, is the purpose of the giving of the Torah, is the giving of the Torah, right? So the giving of the Torah was not just for God to be known in our intellect, that we should be, just obviously there's a mitzvah of learning, of learning Torah, and that's the first thing, really, mantem, of learning, yeah, right? Because without learning, how do we really integrate, right? So you can't say, oh, I'm gonna integrate it, but you haven't learned. So the first stage is the learning, but on the deeper level, the learning is almenas, is for the sake of lasot, and for the sake of doing. That is, right? That is the purpose of it all, which is what the which is what the Jewish people did on Mount Sinai. They said, Naaseh v'nishma. We will do, and then we will listen. So it came from a place of doing. And then afterwards, the listening, or the understanding, the expansion came through. It's that bravery, right? That courage, you could say, of saying, I'm going to open up that window. I'm going to open up that Band-Aid and allow air in it, in that wound, right? I'm going to try another way, right? Another perspective. I'm going to allow someone else in that space, right? That can help me. And that's tremendous. That is really where it's all at. That's where we really grow. So yes, so just to bring this around for full circle, we haven't met. I think it's been like 3 weeks now, and it feels like a while, because I don't usually miss, but honestly, it's been really like that for me on a personal level, that it has been like, okay, this is the kind of work that I have to do, like now, and just, to really allow for that, type of place, and it allows for a lot of vulnerability, where, where if we need to cry, or we need to purge, or we need to, like, to allow that. And you see that, like, babies have that, like when a baby cries, or feels something, they cry it out, and then they go on. That's it, right? It's done. They get it out of their bodies, right? But what do we do as adults? It's like we hold on. Again, we hoard, and it's an indication of, like, all the stuff that is there all around, and, in our house, the cluttering, right? There's a book, like, Show Me Your Closet. I forgot the name of it. Your closet. Like, you can tell a person from their closet, right? If everything is just, like, stuffed in there and thrown in there, you're like, you could tell, like, that doesn't just happen with one's clothes. You know what I'm saying? It happens. It happens, yeah. Like things are just like, yeah, let me just throw that in there. Very, like, unconsciously doing things, right? Whereas, if it's overly neat and perfect, and then that's also like an OCD type of a thing. But if it, there's that balance of having that space, and then the window to it. But having the time and making the time to feel what it is that we're feeling, and to allow those feelings to come through, and to cry them, right, as needed, is a tremendously important and healthy aspect, because that animal soul is holding on to a lot of baggage. And when the godly soul is like, you don't need to hold on to this all this time. You're good. Like, let go. It's cool. I've got you. And the animal soul says, no, I gotta just relax, just chill. Let me get you over there. And he's able to relax a little bit. It's still very tense and stiff. It needs to just ease and relax into that perspective of surrendering, right? Of letting go, of emptying oneself out from needing to hold on to so much, right? We don't need to hold on to it. Hashem is holding on to it. right? And when we don't hold on to it and we just are what we're doing, so then we're, so then that's the best thing that we could be doing, because then we're living in our, in that zone of true self, right? And so that's this month of Sivan, right? And this month of like June that we're in right now, the energy is really this type of place that we can be cognizant of both sides, right? Of both parts of ourselves that that is like, well, I got to get this accomplished. And versus, like, let's like let go and, and pray, and you want to almost dissociate sometimes, right? Both are not accurate, right? Both need to be, it's not about dissociating, it's about opening up and revealing, and it's not about overachieving, it's about surrendering. And both coming together, then we have really the giving of the Torah, right? Because again, the giving of the Torah isn't just about, it's not about the information, it's about the connection, right? It's about the connection that we have, that we are basically. That is the giving of the Torah. And that's why where's the giving of the Torah? In the physical world. It's not in the spiritual world with the angels. It's within the physical world. It's within all those occurrences and situations which seem not spiritual. They are spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. It's all a spiritual experience. But it's not this spiritual experience like the angels. That's the difference. It's also a physical experience. It's a physical, spiritual experience that we have the choice of which one do we prefer to identify with, right? So if we identify with the physical experience more, then we're basically living in we're deluding ourselves, and we're living in pain. Like, I honestly feel bad. I'm like, I feel bad for most people. Like, just really just thinking that, you know, thinking that the next thing that they're going to achieve, the next thing they're going to have, the next, they're going to get there faster by like 5 minutes. That's going to make it or break it. It's like, really, like that, like, just let go, right? Release. And that's a point that's really the prescription for joy, right? For being present, for having pleasure in this world, is actually living a life of spirituality. So also part of the trip is like, I was in New York, the some of the places are very well-to-do and opulent and whatnot, and yet there isn't that much necessarily like inner joy, simcha, that you may get whereas someone else or something else that doesn't have as much opulence or net worth, the joy is just, I don't know, more of a pure joy, right? And it's that, and it's realizing that spirituality or kedusha, or right, holiness, or is a luxury, and it's actually the greatest luxury, right? Because you can have the fanciest car, but like, fine, that's good, it's nice, enjoy it for a certain amount of time, but like the spiritual luxury is a luxury that there's really just a luxury of like it's happening all the time. I could live a luxurious lifestyle every single minute, every single moment, right? If we choose to, right, to live in the moment, because in the moment is the most luxurious place to be in. Yeah. All right, my friends. I think that that kind of captures it for this week. Any thoughts, questions? Abigail? Only when I see with a camera on. Thank you, Abigail. I appreciate that.
Um, this whole explanation makes the priestly blessing being read this month so perfect, because it addresses both the physical, to be protected and loved, and then God's shining God's face at you, and that the world is, so God is below and looking up at you. So it's like if you see a beautiful child, they just glow, or a beautiful flower, it's like it's a blessing from below. And then when you see a sunrise or sunset, you're looking at the sky and you're being blessed from above.
That's beautiful.
So yeah. It's everything that you said in this is contained in the blessing.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. And you should know that the Cohen blessing has 3 verses to it.
Right.
Representing the right, the left, and the center. So we've got, again, the 3rd month, which is called we're called the nation of priests, right? The Kohanim, because there's the above to below and below to above energy, and then they actually merge, right? The merging of the two is, there is the inspiration, like you were saying, like there is, like, in the analogy of opening up the window, looking from above to below, right? Having that, but then there's the below to above, actually opening it, and doing the work to actually open it is, is such a huge thing, because it's only our small petty self that we're like, so what am I even really doing that much? But like, no, you were brave enough to open up that small window, and that small window then again,
and then we're given peace at the last word is shalom.
Exactly. Shalom, exactly.
And then the middle word of each line is saying God's presence is there.
Not the shalom. No.
Friday night?
Yes. Yes.
Also, you should have a good Yom Tov.
Amen.
I hope they run healthy that night.
Thank you. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for the blessings.
Oh.
Shabbos. Thank you. Sorry.
I said that the middle word of each line makes a sentence
Yud, yeah.
that says
Yud,
something.
yeah.
God is there.
Right.
With
Right.
everything. So it's the physical and the spiritual,
Yeah.
from above and below, and that we're protected. So we don't have to fear, and then we're granted peace.
Shalom. Which
I have to give a talk on Monday about it, so this was helpful.
Oh, beautiful. So you should know that the letters of Shalom, the Shin is represents like Aish, fire. The Mem is water, Mayim, right? And the Lamed and the Vav are basically connecting, but it connects these 2 polar opposites of fire and water, right?
Oh yeah, and the Vav connects, yeah.
Yeah, the fire is the Shin, and the Mayim is, right?
That's
And
from
actually,
below.
even when we enunciate the words Shalom, it's a very round sound, like Shalom. Like it actually rises up and it ends off. It really is a tremendously powerful word.
And what is the job of the lamed?
The lamed is also a connector. Actually, lamed vav is 36, which is, you know, it's like basically the twice living, twice chai, above to below chai and below to above chai.
And the lamed reaches up
Yes,
like a
exactly.
like
The
a
lamed,
rocket ship.
yes, the lamed is a teacher. Lamed means to teach.
Yeah.
Lamed
Yeah,
is a
lamed and
yeah.
lil mode too. Yeah.
And right, to learn and
learn.
teach. Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ah, Zalman, how are you? Miriam, it's great to see you guys.
Likewise. Great. Now you're back on the screen.
Listen, you got to be back in there's the have to be in the heart. That's it. That's the most important thing.
Right.
And it's the relative feeling better who you visited.
Thank you. Say that again.
Is that you the relative you visited feeling better?
Mm.
A little bit.
Yeah, they again, most of the work that they need really is their own, like letting go, but that's years and years of trauma, which can't really always help with, right? Because if someone is not willing to receive it or open to it, it's like the most that we could do is try to support them. But like if they're not open to learning, they're not open to learning. Yeah. But there's always the power of prayer to try to say, Hashem, open up their heart, you know, because really healing is a godly thing. It's a spiritual thing. Our body is able to heal itself because the body is godly. It's made with, we're made in the image of God. So it's not like doctors that are putting us together and the FDA is put, you know, we're made in, you know, so our spirituality, though, the how we think has a direct influence on how we feel. That's proven. Like that's like a fact. So yeah, so most of these ailments, right, Hashem should, you know, is basically it comes from it comes from here, right? That when we are able again to just open up something, even though it's not comfortable, then we're able to come to a place of healing, right? Yeah, and that's why this month is called what? The month of healing. Iyar. Ani Hashem Rofecha. I am Hashem who heals you. Because it's that animal that's like, don't take off the band-aid. I got you don't know what's under that. I got a boo-boo over there. But you're like, oh, but slowly. 1 second, oh, I'll put it back on, and then take it off a little bit more and get a little bit more, you know, air, you know, you get the circulation going, and then you could eventually just kind of like treat it right in a different way. But that's this month of Iyar, and then we get to Sivan, which is the month that we're in right now, actually. Then it's Lamed. So then the two of them are together. Yeah. The two of them are together, united as one. All right, my friends. So wishing you all an amazing new month of Sivan. May these blessings of the Kohanim, right, which is, you know, be upon us all. Thank you, Cindy. Wow, that's a great blessing. I appreciate that. And may we all have like this incredible merging of self, right? merging of these two parts of ourselves, which is really one, right? Again, this month of the Gemini, the two parts are really one. And that's exactly where God wants to reside, within the polarities, right? So, yeah. Anyways, so wishing you all a beautiful Shabbat. And thank God, glad that we're on this week. And yeah, wishing you lots of love and atzlacha and bracha, and for everything that it is possible for us, right? And that we don't think is possible for us. And to be courageous to embrace that. Yeah. Okay, God bless Miriam and Zalman Adora. Thank you, Avigail, Tzipora, Sarah, Cindy. I'm glad you were able to make it. Sally, God bless. Solomon, Mark, aloha, Angelo. Coming in from outer space. Solomon, I think we see it. All right, my friends. So wishing you a beautiful. Oh, there he is.
Blessings, Rabbi.
Toda. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Same to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.